if someone was to come to see that they were abused during their early years, and they were to speak to their parent or their parents about what took place, it doesn't mean that their experience or their experiences will end up being validated. This parent could end up saying that it didn't happen, and they could say that they are making it up. And in order for them to get to this point, to be able to see that they were abused, can be seen as a massive step. Because most likely for many years, perhaps many decades, they may have been unaware of what took place. But even though they were unaware of what happened, they would have still suffered. And so it would have been as if their memory was wiped, but they had all the symptoms of being abused. But through not realizing that they were abused, they would have just perhaps suffered in silence and had all these symptoms that they were not aware of where they came from. And so they may have often been depressed and felt very low. They may have often experienced fear and anxiety. Their relationships may have been a mess. And so many other issues they may have had. And they may have been able to make a lot of progress, or they could still be in a very bad way. But even though they will have come to see through their memories and their feelings, and perhaps through the validation of friends and family, that their early years were not very nurturing, this parent, as I've said, will deny what took place. And at this point, they could end up questioning if what happened actually took place. And they could even believe that this shows that they deserved to be treated badly. And perhaps this is because, when it comes to the first point, they had a childhood where they were often invalidated, so their reality was often invalidated. So when it came to how they felt, their feelings may have often been ignored and dismissed. And so what is taking place now can be seen as a continuation. And if they do believe that this shows that they deserved to be treated badly, this again can be a reflection of what took place very early on. Because if they were mistreated by the people or a person who was supposed to look after them and to love them and to care for them, through being egocentric, they would have believed that this was because there was something wrong with them. They would not have been able to see that, no, this showed that there was something wrong with their parent, that their parent was in a bad way. And so through coming to believe very early on that there was something inherently wrong with them, what is taking place now will be a continuation of that. That's if, of course, they believe that this shows that they deserved to be treated badly. And at this point, it could be clear that they are not going to be able to get through to this parent. They're not going to be able to receive their validation. But even though this will be clear, the child part of them could continue to look towards his parent to give them the validation and the love, the acknowledgement that they missed out on so many years ago. And as to why this parent is unable to acknowledge what took place and is unable to validate their experiences, it can be due to the fact that they are not in a good way, and that this person, this parent, is very much out of touch with their own inner world, and so they're out of touch with reality. It is then not that this parent has consciously blocked out and is denying what took place. It is that they're not even aware of the fact that this is what took place, because they will have so many defenses in place that will stop them from being able to face up to how they treated their child and to therefore validate what they went through. And because of this, it won't matter what evidence they show them. It won't even matter if they are still in a bad way, because this parent is not going to be in a good way. This parent may find it hard to empathize with them and to show compassion. And as they were mistreated by them very early on, it is likely to show that, at least for as long as they've been alive, it has been a challenge for them to show empathy and to be compassionate. And so perhaps even before they were born, their parent, this person, was not in a good way. They were deeply wounded and damaged themselves. And most likely they were also abused during their early years. And perhaps this would have been the time when they started to live in what can be seen as Defenseville. So they would have already lost touch with reality very early on because it would have been too painful. And automatically their brain would have put these defenses in to block out reality because it was too painful. And then by the time they were born, they would have had more pain. And so they would not have been able to give them the love and to show them empathy and compassion in the beginning. And now that the years have passed, they can be even more damaged. And this is why it won't matter what they tell this parent, what they show them, or how much they are suffering now. Because this parent will have blocked out reality, most likely from a very early age. And so from the outside, they may have looked normal. But on the inside, they were not in a good way. And this is why what is taking place now is not personal. It doesn't mean that they deserve to be treated badly. It is simply a sign that this parent is not in a good way. But as this is their parent, of course, it is hard for them to see them objectively. But as they work through their emotional wounds and heal their trauma and see that this parent is simply not in a good way, it will be a lot easier for them to see them for who they really are and to see that how they were treated was not personal. It doesn't mean that there was or is anything inherently wrong with them. It's just because this parent is deeply wounded. And so if you can relate to this, you have tried to get through to a parent who mistreated you, and please take into account what I've said and realize that it is not personal. And if you are not in a good way, please reach out for the assistance that you need to gradually change your life. If you would like to find out more about the services that I offer, please go to www.oliverjrcooper.co.uk or email me at info@oliverjrcooper.co.uk, and I'm looking forward to assisting you on your journey.